everybody, and welcome to this Evolving Nutrition webinar, going to be presented by Dr. Virender Sodhi from Ayush Labs. We are very excited to welcome him. Dr. Sodhi is the CEO of Ayush. He was the first Ayurvedic and naturopathic physician in the United States. Dr. Sodhi treats thousands of patients from the US and around the world. He lectures extensively throughout the US and other countries, including New Zealand and Australia, as well as conducts classes and seminars in Ayurvedic medicine. So we are very happy to welcome him. Dr. Sodhi is a friend of the owners of Evolving Nutrition, Amanda and TJ Abenanti, and unfortunately, Amanda could not be with us today, but she did want me to thank you very much, Dr. Sodhi, for everything you do for Evolving Nutrition and as a friend. So thank you so much for that and for your time today. So with that, I will turn everything over to Dr. Sodhi. A couple of items, first, we are recording this so we can have it available to those people who are unable to attend today, or if you want to go back and re-listen, we will have it on the Evolving Nutrition website. You'll find it in the educational section once you log into your account on evolvingnutrition.com. We will enter questions, take questions at the end of the program. And please feel free to go ahead and admit questions through the chat, and we'll be happy to go through those and answer anything that you have at the very end. Okay, thank you very much. I'll turn the floor over to Dr. Sodhi now.
Hi, folks. Thank you very much for having me on this Evolving Nutrition seminar. And thanks to TJ and Amanda for bringing me on. They have been friends a long time, and we have known them for many, many years now. So God bless you all. And it's a good topic. I think we're going to see a lot of long COVID syndrome in coming years. Even I believe we are also going to have, because the even vaccine too, because there is a studies showing that people who get vaccinated, the spike proteins are stuck in the lymph nodes and they can trigger the same kind of reaction. So if you got COVID or not COVID, I think there'll be some lot of patients you're going to see in your clinical practice. Okay, what's going on? This gets stuck. Okay. So the statistics of COVID is not very fun, as you know. Almost more than 900,000 people has died with it in the USA. Around 77 plus million people were affected with it worldwide. 412 million and 5.82 million deaths. This is a huge, very, very sad statistics. So when the SARS was there, there's almost 40% people had people in recovery and had chronic fatigue syndrome in for 3.5 years after being diagnosed. So I think you're going to see a lot of COVID syndrome patient in coming years. And I'm seeing in my practice every day, almost every day, there's a 1 or 2 person who has come to me and has the most common symptom they have is the fatigue. So what is long COVID? Most people with COVID experience mild symptoms, but approximately 10 to 15% cases progress to severe disease and about 5% become critically ill. Typically, people will recover with the COVID around 2 to 4 weeks, but some people get lingering symptoms and weeks and after. It's very much like, chronic fatigue syndrome or post viral fatigue syndrome, all those kind of stuff. So we're going to see a lot of those things. And so if people has the comorbid factors like heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, they can have more issues with it. As I said earlier, the most common issue I see with the long COVID patient who come to my clinic is a fatigue, congestion, shortness of breath, loss of taste and smell, headache, diarrhea, nausea, chest pain, abdominal pain, confusion. So these are the not the all list, but this is one of the most common list. So I also want to, like, people may have heard about the cytokine storm when people get COVID. So that is the inflammatory storm. But the bradykinin storm, which is another storm which also is brought on by this COVID. The bradykinin is a potent part of the vasopressor system that induces hypotension and vasodilation, and is enhanced by the angiotensin produced by ACE2. As the virus infects the ACE2 receptors, so there is a high expression due to the viral manipulation. And as a side effect of this, it increases the level of bradykinin in the system there. This bradykinin storm compounds the inflammation by further increasing capillary fragility, swelling, and fluid leakage. So, when you have cytokine going on, you also have bradykinin going at the same time. Now, all of a sudden, the blood vessels are breaking down, you get swollen up, and the fluid leaks into it. That's what the lungs become like a gel. And I think that's how they check it out on the X-ray or mostly on CAT scan. So it can cause a lot of long-term damage and potentially death. Interestingly, curcumin has been studied as a bradykinin receptor antagonist and may have a protective action against homocysteine-induced vascular damage, which is actually also been studied. Curcumin has shown the better effects with people who has elevated homocysteine, which also triggers inflammation, as you know. So how we see in Ayurvedic medicine, the COVID. So interestingly, several centuries ago, they also mentioned diseases called Janpathu Dhvans. Jan means the public. Pado Dhvans mean destruction of the general public. So, which means again, epidemic. So this is not new terminology in Ayurvedic medicine. We have witnessed, it means in previously to that people has this kind of epidemics even in the past. So the textbook of Ayurvedic medicine called Charak Samhita, or the book of medicine, it says that when people are not following the simple laws of Mother Nature, and you're violating the air, water, region, seasons, and that causes the body to go into a Janpadadhvans. So it means you're not following the simple laws of Mother Nature. And I think we can relate to that in today's world. There's so much toxicity in the environment. The virus, bacteria, fungus can mutate and become more virulent to us. So Ayurvedically, you know that we talk about Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So it's more dominantly Vata Kapha disease. And so Kapha is mainly the mucus in us. It creates dampness, heavy accumulation, and fullness. So when you have a Kapha imbalance, these things get too much accumulated, like the lungs get filled with the fluid. And the Vata causes irregularities, sudden changes, like the vitals can drop up and down, pain and deep fear. This combination, it manifests as a sudden fast accumulation of dampness within individual and damaging the chest and heart. So this is actually how the people are dying, because of the extreme fluid they collect in the lungs and the heart, and they have a hard time getting rid of it. So long COVID and Ayurveda again, what about Pitta? People, can ask that question. Pitta governs the metabolism. So whenever you have too much dampness in you and you have too much air in you, the fire get withered, and so which disturbs the kapha and vata, and basically you have a huge accumulation of mucus fluid in your cavities, and the body has a hard time detoxifying it and cutting out of your system and becoming like a more normal. So in Ayurvedic medicine, we talk about the fire, digestive fire. So you have to help the digestion to get that fire going back to the normal. So that's why spices like ginger can be very helpful. Curcumin can be very helpful. Turmeric can be very helpful. Black pepper can be very helpful. And because what it does, it breaks down that excessive mucus production. And in Ayurvedic medicine, we call it ama, means too much accumulation of toxic stuff in your system. So the ama is basically a toxic buildup. And whenever we're not digesting the food to the final product, we are making a intermediate product, incomplete product, and that causes body to attack it. Body thinks this is not mine part, it's not from me, and you start attacking it, and in the process.
I like those a lot.
Excuse me? Hello? Okay. So the toxic load can create a lot of backup in the whole system. And again, treatment is to decrease the toxic load, clean the system, and help back the normalcy. So depending upon individual, whatever people with the different so different people will react differently. Like kapha person may experience weight gain, fatigue, never-ending congestion. A pitta person may have a cardiovascular complication and regular headache. Vata person may experience confusion, mood disturbance, a prolonged lack of taste and smell, because this is responsible for connecting the senses to our body. What is the clinical consideration? If nutrition and lifestyle are not in accordance to the doshic balance, doshas are your vata, pitta, and kapha, then body will fill up with ama, and your immune supporting sap, which we call ojas, is lowered. This is very close to the Chinese concept of qi. As a naturopathic physician, we see poor diet choices leads to disease, suboptimal gut flora that contributes to poor immune function. Without addressing this foundation, it is very difficult to detoxify the body from COVID insults. So again, I think we needed to be very much bringing back to the basics again. We talk about Agni or fire. Basically, Agni is to help digest the food, eliminate the garbage, and restore the body function back to the normal. We use a lot of different spices for that. We use bitter spices, carbonated spices. So what are the treatment strategy? Detoxify the ama. Like you collected all those toxic load in your system, you have to get rid of it. Otherwise, you'll be grabbing pills here and there to get your headache off or your tummy pains off or something else to help you. So you have to start from the basic. You build up the fire, detoxify the ama, and support the vitality of the whole body. So nutrition is very, very important. We do a cleansing program, which is called Panchakarma program, which is a whole body detoxification, like meditation, yoga, pranayama. It cleanses the body and mind and spirit. We give detoxifying herbs. To support the vitality of the patient, we want to talk about the doshas. Like if you're more vata oriented, if you're more dominantly vata person, your mind is all the time revved up. So meditation is a cooling way of cooling the mind. If you're pitta oriented, you go, you kind of angry, frustrated. So you want to do the breathing exercises and you walk in the mother nature, maybe close to water, which calms you down. If you're kapha, you like a sluggish, slow and tired, you want to go and do exercise. Again, spending time in mother nature helps tremendously. So those simple techniques like breathing exercises, meditation helps it, and added herbs will help tremendously. Panchakarma is basically a detoxification treatment where we remove the toxins which has been accumulated in the body for years. We use the body's own rationale, its own wisdom to clean out the body's toxic load. So the idea is to expel the toxins to its excretory route, to the immunectories, where the body can get it off naturally. Like you increase the motility of the intestine, you poop it out. You increase the urination, you detoxify the kidney. You increase the sweating, you are detoxifying the whole body. And also you're altering the gut flora and the fluid in the body, thereby creating a more balance. The Panchkarma treatment, which we do, is a 5-fold. We call Vamana. I don't do this emesis in America. I has replaced it with the fasting. Virichin is an intestine cleansing, where you remove the toxic load by taking some laxative herb. Nasya is the treatment where you put in the nose, because nose is a nervous system sitting outside in the nose. And you want to keep that nice, not hyperactive, not hypoactive, just the right. And one of the things which COVID gets your sense of smell and the taste. So we use a nasal medicine. We put like you might have seen there's nasal saline, a nasal steroid, but we use oils, medicated oils to instill in the nose to help that process. Basti is the enemas. I use basically a colonic machine, and it's done 2 ways. First, to clean the system, then to restore the function of the intestine back to the normal. And then we have Rakta Mokshana, or bloodletting. So for that, I encourage people to go and donate blood, because you remove the toxic load. Whenever you are, donating, say, 1 pint of blood, you're also diluting the toxic load in the body, and the new blood forms very quickly, and it actually helps to rejuvenate the system. If you read the studies and research, people who donate blood regularly on a yearly basis, I think the statistic is 4 times a year, they live 3 years extra than people who don't donate blood. So really interesting thing to think about. And I think that's why the females live longer, because they menstruate. If you look at this statistically, the females live a lot longer than the male. And we also do the massages, a oil dripping on the forehead, sauna treatment to detoxify the whole body. So this is a complete program where the body is completely detoxifying. The yoga and pranayama. Yoga, as all of you know, pranayama is a breathing exercise. It is the hallmark of any healing. The breathing is so important for us. If we don't breathe properly, if we don't, most of us, we are not breathing properly. We are only utilizing around 40 to 50% of your lungs. So all those alveoli, all those lung tissues are not fully activated. And when you get insulted by infections like COVID, all of a sudden you have not utilized your lungs, and you have only 40, 50% of the lung working for you. The others are not going to come into action. So, but when you do breathing exercises, your 100% alveoli are functional. You'll be able to knock mucus out very, very quickly, and your lungs will be very happy. So people who do exercise, we know that they bounce back quickly. People who do breathing exercise bounce back quickly. People who do yoga bounce back quickly. So this has a preventive as well as a curative action on many diseases. So we can do, there are so many breathing exercises. One of my favorite, which is I tell almost every patient to do, is you fill in your lungs and using your belly. So when you breathe in, your belly comes out, and you slowly breathe and hold as long as you can. And then, because the idea here is to concentrate carbon dioxide in the lungs. Carbon dioxide is very relaxing, and it opens up the blood vessels, vasodilates it, and also calms you down mentally and emotionally. And when you are feeling that you can't hold it anymore, just let it out slowly again through the mouth. So inhale through the nose, out through the mouth, and hold in between. So what you have done now, you actually expanded the lungs to a full lung capacity, has helped that to relax, vasodilated. If there is any mucus in there, you can expectorate it very, very quickly. But you will see, if you have a lung accumulation of the fluid, in the beginning, you will have expectoration. And as you keep doing it again and again, your expectoration drops, and you feel better and more better. There are so many breathing exercises. Anyone which you like, you can do it. But this is one of my favorite. So vagal stimulation is another healing mechanism. Actually, which you do this one, the breathing exercise I told you, with belly breathing, you are stimulating your autonomic nervous system and you are stimulating your vagus nerve. There's tons of research available on yoga. I wrote a chapter for textbooks and has hundreds of pages on that research published in medical journals. One study, benefits of yoga, anxiety, depression, fatigue, lasted 6 months after stopping the practice. So you can see that even you did not do for 6 months, they still have effective. There is also studies on cancer patients, studies on asthma patients, studies on PCOS, studies on high blood pressure, studies on diabetic patients. You will see tons of data available on yoga. And what it also have been noticed that the yoga has shown to decrease pro-inflammatory cytokines like interleukin-6, interleukin-1B after 12 weeks of doing weekly yoga. And it's also noted that TNF-alpha production did not increase. So, very well balancing rounding effect. Most of the studies were done where people did around 60 minutes of yoga and once a week, which is like a very limited amount. I don't get time to do 60 minutes, but I do a sun salutation routine around 5 to 10 a day. And it gives me flexibility. It makes me feel gaudy. My body feels more happier with it. My next favorite is forest bathing. Again, I call this a free medicine. When you go out in the mother nature, in the jungle, the essential oils of the pine trees or other trees, the ambience, the calmness, the serenity of that place, the water creates an amazing healing mechanism. There are lots of studies available on that one too. It has shown to reduce blood pressure, increase inflammatory cytokines, cortisol, interleukin-5, and increase of natural killer cells up to 40%. I don't know any medication, any drug, which has shown to increase the natural killer cell activity that much. That means, anything's coming into your body will chew it off and you'll be a happy person. Also walking on the ground barefoot, which is called grounding, which is a very old Ayurvedic technique, also helps to discharge the excessive electric potential we all collect, with all these gadgets we have, cell phones, clothing, synthetic clothing, and also naturally because body is electric. And when you ground it, your body is feeling much better. Your pain syndrome, headaches get better, and you also have a very good sleep. The hallmark of any disease is nutrition, as all the naturopathic physician and Ayurvedic doctors play a heavy role on the nutrition. And also food choices. What kind of food are you eating? You are preferring Twinkie versus a carrot? Yeah, certainly makes a big difference. And when you're eating food, and with whom you're eating food, and amount of food. So a lot of times you can have the best food and the company you are eating with is not really good. So you are completely getting enraged and angry and fearful, stressed out about that. That food is going to become a poison. So whenever you're eating food, you should be just enjoying it and having a very calm and quiet atmosphere around it. Enjoy the Mother Nature gift, which has been given to us. And if you eat too much food or too little, you have a problem. Too much causes most of us are eating excessive in our today's society. We are eating too much of it. So we need to cut that down and eat the right kind of food amount where body sustains and energy is balanced, but it should not go down. So we may need to find that balance for all of us, where my body is more energetic without going into a fatigue or energy less syndrome, and not eating that low that you get fatigue, but not eating that too much that will also make you fatigue and tiredness too. So that nice balance, everyone has a different one, and we have to find it out. So In general, I encourage people to eat lots of fruits and vegetables. You should be towards close to the more vegetarian diet. Vegetarian is way better. The studies support it. All the literature supports it. You can flavor it with the nice spices, sugars, as you know. If you look at in Mother Nature, there's no sugar in the Mother Nature. We all are man-made except for the honey, but nothing else is natural. We just concentrate that sugary thing like a sugar cane or maple syrup or agave. All those tended to be like a less sugary, but they all are very concentrated. And whenever we eat anything sweet, the body goes into insulin reaction. So it does not matter if it has a real sugar in it or not. Like the studies in Europe showed when people eat 0-calorie sweetener sodas, they gain double the weight than people who are on sugar. So this can be a little more worse for us because you trigger the insulin reaction, but there's nothing to produce. The body produces fat because, you know, the body, it doesn't have any other way doing things. The spices which I like, one of them is called Trikatu, which is also in our product, coca cumin. We also has it in veg enzyme because it enhances the absorption and the assimilation of the food. Trikatu is the combination of black pepper, long pepper, which is called piper longum, ginger, and it helps the epithelial cells in the intestine to take in, break down the food, enhance the secretion of the enzymes. Cumin has balancing effect on the pitta. So people are very heating in nature, they are more angry, frustrated, or they have a loose stool, which is a pitta condition. Very common in India to make a cumin rice. So that helps that balance that out. Honey is really considered good for kapha because it actually helps to reduce the allergens in the body and also scrape off the layers of the kapha from the system. So if you are dominantly kapha and you naturally, you are sluggish and you constipated, bowel blockage. So you need to eat warm food, warm, astringent food as the best, but avoid sweet. Dairy, red meat, they are not good for you. Green leafy vegetables, bitter melon, legumes, tofu are really good for the protein. Pitta, people tends towards diarrhea and undigested food in stool. So red meat is not really fun for them. Acidic food bother them. Spices, a lot of food which has like a cayenne pepper, garlic kind of thing can bother them. So moderate on the dairy, lean protein may be okay, maybe fish. Enjoy more juicy fruits, vegetables, and they have a good digestive fire, so they can handle raw vegetables even better than the cooked one. Vata tends towards the weaker digestion, so they have a gas, bloating. So for them, we recommend that you eat cooked food or readjust your digestive tract by eating small amount of vegetable, chewing them properly, or cooked or steamed vegetable, and then increasing the capacities from there slowly. So you want to eat moist, heavy, warming, oily food, which can help your digestive system to calm down the vata symptoms. Herbal medicine, as you know, we have lots of herbal medicine, and some of them are my favorite, and I will go as we go along, we'll tell you what is my favorite. Amla is one of the most revered fruit in Ayurvedic medicine. Broad spectrum, tons of things, good amount of ascorbinogens, which really helps the antioxidant status in our body. In India, we use it as a food, we use it as a dried fruit powders, syrup, and one very common product which is made in India called Chyawanprash, and that product is Amlaplex we have, which is an enhanced Chyawanprash. It is a generally immune booster. We use it for immune boosting. It has a good amount of fiber, so it's really good on the gut. It is actually balancing to all the doshas, vata, pitta, and kapha. It balances it all. So you can close your eyes and give to anybody, and even to a small kid, to an adult. It has an amazing action on your genitourinary system too. People who has issue with the bladder, kidneys, prostate, they can also get benefit from amla. And it has is a heart tonic. Amla is a wonderful heart tonic too. So people who has a weak heart or conditions with the heart, they can also use it too. Ashwagandha is my another favorite herb, and it's a adaptogen and has a antioxidant property, anti-inflammatory properties. The anti-inflammatory properties are compared to hydrocortisone, which is a potent anti-inflammatory. It also cut down the NF-kappa B, the activity in the body, which cuts down the inflammation. So usually I use 500 milligrams, the standard extract, couple times a day, 2-3 times a day. It has been used for sleep promotion. When people has a plague, and when the plague went to India, there was an Ayurvedic doctor who was using some herb in the form of like a paste and apply on the bubonic plague, and these plagues will get cured. So later on, the British was trying to find out what is this herb. They found out this was ashwagandha. So they will just rub the paste of it and put it on the plague wounds, and the plague will get better. It actually has been mentioned in the medical literature. So very amazing herb for increasing your stamina, immunity, vigor, vitality, longevity. Helps the hormones, increase your testosterone around 40%, and also reduces your cortisol level by 40%. There is another interesting study on it, where when you sit on the floor and they measure your height from your tailbone to all the way to head, when the people who took ashwagandha for 3 months, the seated posture, they call it, it increased. So that means the disc was getting plumbed, and the whole body is getting more toned up. And I see that ashwagandha toning, when I take it regularly with the terminally Arjuna, because it also enhances the oxygen capacity. So you will increase your overall vigor and vitality, and also stamina when you take ashwagandha, and you can combine the Arjuna to help the whole process there. Tulsi is a very common Ayurvedic herb. You see Tulsi tea everywhere these days. It's called Osivum sanctum. I wrote an article many years ago, why holy basil is holy. And the studies are such remarkable. It helps to improve the T helper cells. As you all know what T helper cell does to us. And the plant of the holy basil, it's in this picture you see there's a center planter there, and this plant is a holy basil, by the way. And it was put in the center of the house. The house has 4 corners, and the center was open, and above the sky is open, and the plant is planted in the center. And everybody in the family, before they go to their work, they will take a shower and come to water this plant a little bit, not too much, and worship this plant, and just seek blessings from this plant. And later on, I found out that this holy basil plant releases ozone, a small amount of ozone, and it also has an insect repellent property. So that may be why it's planted in the center, because it will keep the bugs away, and release a little bit ozone, which has a very insecticidal effect, and also enhances your body circulation. So I think that may tell you that why holy basil is so good for you. And it also has a mental calming effect on you. Guduchi are also called Tinosporia cordifolia. A lot of research available on this herb. Balances doshas, all the doshas, extremely safe. And basically we use it to remove the toxic load from the system. This grows like a wildfire in India, where we are from. You go to the jungle. We actually wild harvest it, by the way, because it's a vine, and it's just like a twins all around the trees, and make like a huge twines there. So we harvest it fresh. And this plant is such a regeneratable plant. Like you cut the small piece of it, you take a small and stick in the ground in the months of monsoon. Next year you have another plant growing from it. So it is very what do you call it, harvestable, and we can sustain it by making it. So this is what we have standing instructions to all our people who grow it. If you cut the plant, at least make sure you plant 10 of them. And it's very easy. When you're harvesting, you cut it and you just put it in the dirt, and you got your sustainability there. And there's a lot of studies available on this plant. One is with the double-blind control study with Tulsi, Ashwagandha, and Guduchi, reported virological clearance and improved biomarkers of inflammation. Is available in Flucommune and other products. We have Live It too, has Guduchi in it too. Kalmeg, which is also used in Chinese medicine, is called Andrographis paniculata. A lot of studies again available on it. It is also helps to remove the heat from the system, and it pacifies the kapha. So it removes the excessive mucus from the system. In oncology, there's a lot of application for endographic paniculata. In liver pathology, there's a lot of applications of endographic paniculata. It is also used for boosting the immune system. So lots of wonderful effects of the endographic paniculata. If you use excessively, if people can get a little nausea and dizziness. I've never seen that in my practice, and I doubt it, because I think if you don't process it properly, you may have some side effects. But the amount we are putting in the herbs, it's not a big effect there. Also, by the way, the Endographis paniculata has also been studied for recurrent common colds and flu. People who utilize it, their common cold flus were way, way, way less as compared to the people who were not taking any. So there is some immune modulating effect and protective effect. Boswellia serrata salaki is a powerful anti-inflammatory and has shown to decrease leukotrienes, which are responsible for bronchoconstriction. So can be really good for patient with the upper respiratory tract infection and asthma. Also inhibits COX-2 and LOX, is responsible for inflammation. Inhibits NF-kappa B. Again, this is a very sacred herb and has a lot of connection with divinity. Even when Jesus Christ was born, the 5 wise men who came to visit him brought this herb with them, and that's why you see it's burnt in synagogues, burnt in churches, in the mosques, and in the temples. So it's like this plant actually connects the whole divinity of the whole universe. So you see that burnt in the Indian temple, in even the mosque and the synagogue, and even in the Jewish temple too. So very amazing herb, and I use it for a lot of my cancer patients. There is a studies available on the glioblastoma on it. Really amazingly wonderful results on this herb. Usually, I encourage them to fume this herb, and they breathe it in, the fumes on a charcoal. You sprinkle this resin on it, and it creates like a white smoke. Very commonly used in Arab countries, by the way. If you happen to go to Saudi Arabia or all those Kuwait, there are shops, and these Arabs come and they have these long robes. They open up the robes and stand in front of a dark white smoke, and they are kind of soaking it in. And there's also perfumes made out of this boswellia, which has very sweet and calming effect, the wonderful lingering, haunting aroma of it. Osaka is Adatoda vesica, as also is a part of our Flucommune product, balances the mucus. There is a saying in Ayurvedic medicine that wherever you have a Saka, Adatoda vesica, there will be no tuberculosis and patient cannot dare to cough. So you can well imagine that how much confidence they have put in this plant. I wrote in my book about this plant too, and actually also talked about the same phrase. And a lot of people, even they smoke the plant to break up the mucus and bring it out, and has a really good results on the people who has upper respiratory tract infections or asthma type of stuff. So really good for those. And the studies shows that the vicine, which is a alkaloid in it, has a mucolytic effect and also has a little cardiodepressant effect, so slows down the heart rate. And also, again, the plants are very wonderful. One plant will have a little effect on the stimulation, other will have a suppressing action. So they kind of balance it out. Again, the dry powder is 1 to 3 grams, but it's an extract is standard extra use. Neem is one of my favorite plant. It regulates macrophages, and which is very, very important to regulate macrophages. We use for excessive heat. Is a favorite plant in the heat of the India, where people break out. Has a very powerful antiviral, antifungal, antibacterial properties, and also can be amazingly good for long COVID patient. There is also studies on it where they gave people as a preventive for COVID, and then they compared it to the vaccinations. And it was not far behind from vaccination in preventing the infection of COVID. So this is also published data there. The raw herb, you can use up to 5 grams, but we use extract, which is you use 500 milligrams. And the only thing which I want to tell you, don't take it empty stomach, because your blood sugar will lower down, because it also has a blood sugar lowering effect, and you can feel a little woozy with it. So take it after food. And the neem plant does not have a anti-fertility effect. It is the oil which, if you put directly into vagina, it has a spermicidal effect, but the neem does not have that effect. A lot of people ask me that question. My favorite is turmeric, very known anti-inflammatory, helps the brain, helps the heart, liver. Tons of studies on it. It changes the genes which causes cancer, oncogene, and helps to modify them. Also shown activity in neuropathic pain. In Ayurvedic medicine, we say to balances vata and kapha. Is slightly heating properties. For people with too much heat in them, want to be a little careful. You can give it, but you need to use some cold herb with it. For example, cumin or fennel will be cooling herb, which we can combine with it and give to a person who is Pitta dominant, or coconut water. That's why we put that to make it balancing. It is in base of the coconut powder, medium chain triglycerides of coconut powder, which helps to cut down that heating effect, and coconut is a cooling property. So in Ayurvedic medicine, we always balance the herb. We don't use only single herb, which is rarely used except for the adaptogens. Up for the questions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sodhi. And yes, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself or write something in the chat, and we will be very happy to answer them. We can also, we'll be sending a follow-up email to everybody. So if you think of something, or you have an opportunity to go back and listen to the webinar and a question comes up, please feel free to email us as well. The email address is info, I-N-F-O, @evolvingnutrition.com.
All righty, looks like there's no questions. Either I did a good job or a bad job, but
I think you did a fantastic job.
Okay.
It was so interesting. I could have listened for at least another hour. Some wonderful information for everybody just to reconnect with nature. Okay, so we do have a question from Peyton. Anything in particular to, sorry, I lost my question, to help a loss of smell and taste? Thank you. And Dr. Sodhi?
So Boswellia and Google can help that too, by the way, because the olfactory sensors, somehow they get affected. And so you're cutting down the inflammation in that area, because the nerve endings get, irritated with the COVID, and that's how you lose this. So to replenish the nervous system, you can use boswellia, you can use Google herb to help that process. And it takes time. It's not very, very quick, and we also in Ayurvedic medicine, we tell them to put the oil into the nose. Like you can olive oil, you can use avocado oil. Olive oil is a little irritant. I see the avocado oil as a little more cooling and calming properties. Some people use like even a rose attar to put in the nose. That has also calming effect and helps to regenerate the nervous system.
I know I have heard, and perhaps you can comment on this, Dr. Sodhi, about using very aromatic citrus smells and things like that to remind the olfactory nerves. Have you had any questions on that, using something like that?
No, I don't. But the citrus is also very highly allergenic, so that's some people are gonna bother, but majority of people would be fine. So yes, it's a good one. I like a more calming aromas, like sandalwood, like rose, because they have a more calming effect. A real rose, not the synthetic, because that's irritating. But it's expensive, as you know. Sandalwood is expensive. There is another one which is called khas. Is a more calming kind of, so that actually helps the nervous system to heal and regenerate. But lemon is fine. Lemon is also very healing too, by the way. But only my concern is because it's a very allergenic family. A lot of people get allergic response to it.
Very good. Thank you very much.
All righty. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful rest of the day. And I am ready to eat. Hungry.
Well, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it, and we will take everything you said to heart. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.